Ohio University admitted a record number of students to its 2022 freshman class. At just under 4,500 total students, it's a rise of 21% from 2021. We sat down with two on-campus departments to get their reaction to the high number.
So, good morning, everyone. My name is Janine Hacker, and I have the privilege and pleasure of serving as the Executive Director for Housing and Residence Life.
Hi, I'm Jonna Matolia. I'm the Director of Business Operations with Housing and Residence Life.
The first question I had for them was, why did they choose River Park as a place to house some sophomores?
That is a great question. Thank you so much for asking that question. So Ohio University has experienced a growth. As we all know, we have the largest first-year cohort that has joined Ohio University ever. And so with that growth, we were looking at elasticity in our residential experience. And one of the opportunities or strategies to ensure that we could provide an accommodation for all of our first and second year students was exploring opportunities with local landlords that could still offer accommodations that creates that living experience that we find valuable in a first and second year living experience. And based on the timing in which we realized that there was a need for some additional space, we had the ability to request and receive the opportunity to engage with River Park and integrate some additional spaces into our residential experience.
The next question I had was if they would allow some now freshmen to break the housing contract early and move into apartments.
Students can continue to request to go through the traditional exemption process that we have, but we will hopefully once again be partnering with local landlords to provide accommodations that will meet the needs of our residents in a way that is still conducive to the residential experience that we are very proud of and we've created across campus here. So first year students can still anticipate to complete that second year housing contract come December 1, and we plan on ensuring to have a bed for every student coming through.
And just to add that, there's a whole lot of value for students who live on campus both their first and second year. We know that that helps support our students in their transition, their sense of development with identity and self, but also from a retention and a persistence perspective. And so part of that is accomplished through programs and experiences and community-based living experience, and we certainly want to hold fundamental and core to our students that opportunity for their first and second years. Some other strategies that we have in place, and we've made decisions. Gamma Spreader will be back in our inventory. That will increase our options by about 263 beds. Additionally, we've made the decision to not take Bryan Hall offline for the entire academic school year, rather invest into the renovations of that facility over the course of 2 summers so that we can maintain that building in our inventory as well.
Thirdly, I had to ask if Gamers Federal will be back for the fall.
Absolutely, and we're really looking forward to that. So not only has the lobby received a renovation, there was an addition of a kitchen, and that was a prior renovation, but we have also invested into some major infrastructure that will allow new bathrooms, which we find to be exciting, but also the ability to take those window air conditioning units out of the window and connect to our central HVAC system.
I also asked why they chose to make some doubles into triples this year.
So the majority of our double to triple conversions this year are actually rooms that historically were triples. So just looking at especially West Green, that all of those buildings were built square footage wise and space wise that they were designed to be triples. Over the course of a few years, we were able, especially due to COVID, we were able to reduce the capacity of those triples, basically offering much larger doubles on the West Green. But as we move forward, we did have to kind of go back to that pre-COVID time period and offer those spaces out as triples once again.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, I asked about the plan they had if OU keeps admitting high volumes of students.
That is also a great question. So as we work in collaboration with undergraduate admissions and understand what their future projected enrollment targets are, we have strategies in place. And so we can certainly look forward with partnering with off-campus landlords once again to offer multi-unit spaces in our residential experience to accommodate community-based living opportunities. But we are also advancing a housing master plan and are hopeful that come October that we will have our final recommendation with a future housing master plan approved so that we can move forward with perhaps integrating additional spaces into our residential experience, but also providing the opportunity for us to take some of our existing facilities offline and invest financially into the renovations to create the best experience.
Along with housing, we also spoke with admissions to get their perspective on such a large class. We talked to Executive Director of Undergraduate Admissions, Mateo Remsburg. The first question I'll ask you is, what was the reaction to such a large number of applicants?
I think the reaction to the significant number of applicants that we saw this year, at first we were uncertain. We were showing that we were up quite early in the process. However, it was kind of a question of, were we up or were we just early in terms of when students were applying? And when we were talking with our colleagues across the state, we were hearing that many of them were also ups. And we made a few other changes to our process, like opening housing earlier. So we weren't sure, how much of an impact that would have.
So what is the challenge of adding such a large class this year?
So I think the challenges came in kind of two areas. One is when you're enrolling a significantly larger class, it's wanting to make sure that we have the student or the classes and the course sections available for students to get into. And then the other part of it, of course, was housing and making sure we had enough beds for everyone.
Was it exciting to see such a large amount of people want to come to OU?
Oh, absolutely. Like the excitement that comes with having a larger class and having that interest in Ohio University. Everyone was. It's one of those things when you have a few years where your number of applications and the number of enrolling students is going down, to be able to see an increase from that, and knowing that we were building off of the momentum that we had seen the year before, just gives a new sense of energy to our staff in undergraduate admissions, but also across the campus when folks are seeing that there's this renewed interest in OU and a desire to come here. It's exciting for everyone.
Definitely. So do you guys expect to see another large class next year, years coming?
It's really early to say. There are so many factors that go into how large your class is going to be. Part of it is looking at what's the right size for Ohio. The other part of it is, again, the competition in the state is really quite challenging at times. But our numbers right now are looking positive. But again, it's still really early. We have our first actual deadline coming up in just a few weeks, and so that'll be a better sense of, okay, where are we at? So,
what do you think it means to the university to have so many people come to the campus this year?
So I think the larger class this year, in terms of what that really means for the university, there's several pieces to that. One is, again, kind of a higher sense of energy on campus when you see more students just on campus and in our buildings, in our classes. There's just like folks like seeing that. I think it's also a testament to what the university has to offer. If you think about the quality of the education that we have to offer, the educational experiences in and out of the classroom, as well as, and you combine that with our affordability and the fact that students can really have a great experience, a great education, and it's a good value. And I think that just goes a long ways to showing that that is being recognized across the state.